Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told how to voice radio, so today I'm going to be showing you an unusual new deck. A very weird, not really seen before deck that is doing very well this weekend at the Memphis Regional Championships. Now, it is piloted by Yoshi Tate, who, let's face it, is quite well known for these more unusual decks. We don't have an exact deck list now because the tournament is literally still going on, but, you know, the deck's around now. I want to talk about it now. We're going to talk about it now. And hopefully over the next few days, a deck list will come out, and either we'll talk about it on this channel, or I'll just pop a little link in the description of this video, whatever seems a bit better. It is, in the good tradition of decks like Wailord, a stall deck. And the idea here is very simple. You're not going to take enough prizes before I deck you out. You are going to lose because you do not have a card to draw at the beginning of your turn, and that's going to happen before you've taken 6 prizes. And, well, I say 6 prizes, that's not always the case. And there are a couple of Pokemon used to stall here. One I love is Wishiwashi GX. Why? It's a basic Pokemon with 210 HP, which is absolutely silly. Now, I didn't see a Fighting Fury bout played by Yoshi. He has been on stream this weekend. I don't think he played Fighting Fury bout. I believe the reason, very simply, is because Field Blower just kind of gets rid of it. Fighting Fury belt cannot be relied upon, and you need to rely on Wishiwashi taking a hit here. You need to rely on it surviving for a couple of turns, not I hope my opponent doesn't draw a Field Blower. But 210 HP is absolutely huge. It's got a weakness to lightning, and there really aren't any good lightning Pokemon around at the moment. I mean, Tapu Koko promo, if your opponent can get free energy on it and a choice band, yeah, you're just not seeing many Pokemon that can get a one-hit KO on this. Then you max potion, and you get rid of all of the damage. You have to get rid of all the energy, but there's no energy on there. Then you keep going, just like Wailord. Now, this isn't the only Pokemon used here. Celesteela has 200 HP rather than 210, but it has a resistance to fighting. So when you're against Pokemon like Buzzwole, and Buzzwole was seeing a lot of play this weekend, Celesteela's just really great to sit there and be like, mate, you're doing so little damage. It's almost hilarious. Hoopa from Shining Legends also saw a fair bit of play in this deck, and it's really good because it's got an ability which gives it immunity from EX and GX Pokemon. And there's a whole bunch of decks out there that just don't play non-EX, non-GX Pokemon. We saw this in a video that I made a couple of days ago where my Buzzwole deck didn't have an answer to this. People end up using Rockruff, which is really not a great option. Now, as a side note, we did see in the game that Yoshi played against Michael Pramawat, if people are playing this Rockruff, they can actually use Rock Throw to get fairly easy KOs, but if they're only using the Guardians Rising Rockruff, which is the more popular, you basically just have to rely on hitting a heads, and that's if you've got a Regirock EX out and you've got a strong energy on there, you've still got to hit a heads just to get a KO. There's so many decks at the moment, like Zoroark Golisopod, that just rely on GX Pokemon. Nobody was expecting Hoopa to have a big presence. Yoshi took advantage of that. The other Pokemon here, and this one did occasionally attack, Xurkitree GX. The ability prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached. So Zoroark and its double colorless energy, yeah, that can't do anything. Buzzwole, well, if it puts a strong energy on, oh, now you can't do anything. It means that your opponent cannot play any special energy if they want to hit you, and there's way too many decks at the moment that rely pretty much entirely on special energy. But there were just a couple of energy played in Yoshi's deck to allow him to take advantage of Lightning GX. Very simply, it lets you take a card from your opponent's hand and put it down as an extra prize card. Now, ideally, it would be something like an energy or a supporter to stop them getting set up, but it means that not only do they need to take 6 prizes before they deck out while you're playing stall, they actually need to take 7. And that's really difficult. So initially he would just sit there with all these Pokemon that were incredibly difficult to KO, and then it was just a case of playing stall with the rest of his cards. So he would play Team Flare Grunt to discard energy off of Pokemon. He would use Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer, depending on whether they were special or basic energy here. And it would be just, let's get rid of all the energy. You can't use special energy because of Xurkitree, so you're going to try and get all of your basic energy on there nice and slowly, but Team Flare Grunt and Crushing Hammer are going to get rid of them, and it's going to be hilarious. He also used Plumeria here, which is another really good way of getting rid of energy. It's actually about the only reliable way we've got of discarding basic energy off the bench. You got to discard 2 cards from your hand, but that's alright, it's worth it when you run them out of energy. And even Team Skull Grunt comes in here to take energy out of their hand, so if they're trying to wait for a turn when you don't have an energy denial card, you can use Team Skull Grunt to actually take it out of their hand before they've even attached it in the first place. Now, while you're getting rid of all of their energy, they'll be getting an attack off here or there, so you need to make sure that these attacks don't add up, and you do that with Max Potion and Ace Roller. Max Potion removes all damage counters, like I said, but makes you discard all energy. But the only energy you'll ever use all game is just for that once per game Lightning GX attack, so you really don't ever care about discarding energy if there's energy on there, which it's very unlikely that there will be. And then Ace Roller, if you're damaged, you just get to pick up that Pokemon, put something else active, and off you go. And this really is the core of the deck. You put a Pokemon active that can stall, while you get rid of your opponent's energy and constantly heal. They can't build up a big attacker to take you out, because, oh no wait, how are they going to do that? Because you're getting rid of all of their energy, and they can't chip away, because you're healing. Now, in theory, both Wishiwashi and Celesteela are weak to Lightning, so if you can find a good non-GX, so it doesn't get blocked by Hoopa, Lightning Pokemon, so it hits for weakness, that doesn't rely on special energy, so it doesn't get blocked by Xurkitree, yeah, you can run right through this deck. Oh, and it needs to hit for 1 energy as well, so that you don't get Crushing Hammered all your energy away. You think about that, I will sit here and wait. Now, there are a couple of other cards that were quite useful here. Gladion was just fun to grab cards out of the prizes. You're not taking prizes here, you're decking your opponent out. If something you want ends up in your prizes, you've got to use Gladion to get it out. And Lucamine here is important just for reusing your supporter cards. Technically, it allows you to reuse stadiums, but I don't believe he played any stadiums here, so that would be somewhat of a waste of your time. In theory, could have used Puzzle of Time here. I don't believe he did, and I think one of the reasons here might be because of Garbodor. Garboda's not seeing much play at the moment. We weren't expecting a lot of Garbodor this weekend, but you still don't want to be beaten by the odd Garbodor just because you're way too reliant on using item cards. And the final one here, Team Rocket's handiwork. Like a lot of these stall decks, you are trying to deck your opponent out. But you're not doing it by discarding cards off the top of their deck, you're doing it by making sure that they can't KO your Pokemon, so they just naturally draw until they lose. But sometimes it's fun to just accelerate things a little bit. That's where Team Rocket's handiwork comes in. And if we look at the kind of metagame we were expecting this weekend, this deck makes an awful lot of sense. Zoroark, well, that hits for a maximum 150 if you've got a full bench. That's not KOing any of these, and it relies on double colourless, so Xurkitree says hello. And it's a GX, so Hoopa says hello. Golisopod, exactly the same deal. Even down to same damage output, it's a GX. You can use basic grass on Golisopod, but most of these Golisopod decks play 3 or 4 basic energy. Between Team Flare Grunt and Crushing Hammer, they ain't going to last through the game. Greninja, well, that gets shut down pretty much entirely by Giratina, and Silent Lab isn't in the format at the moment, so unless they're playing something like Alolan Muck, and none of them are, then yeah, Giratina just pretty much entirely shuts them down. We were expecting to see a bit of Passimian this weekend, but that really relies on double colourless energy and counter energy. Well, they're never behind, so counter energy becomes useless. So as soon as you just take out a few of their double colourless, they then can't win the game and they lose. And you see where we're going with this. Lycanroc is the other Pokemon, and Buzzwole that we're really thinking about this weekend. But they both rely on strong energy. There goes Xurkitree. They're both GXs. In comes Hoopa. And Lycanroc is not a single energy attacker, so it's really hard to get the energy on there. Buzzwole is a single energy attacker, but it doesn't do much damage. So between energy denial and healing, you'll be fine. This is a very unusual deck, but it's not a deck where we look at it and go, how did that ever win? This is a deck where we look at it and go, this seems to set up really nicely against all the majorly played decks of the moment. This isn't great in a vacuum, but in the particular metagame that was expected at this particular tournament, it's wonderful! And I love seeing unusual decks, and I just had to bring it to you guys. Maybe it won't make top 8, maybe top 32 will be the end, but you know what? It's been fun watching it, and I wanted to explain to you guys exactly why it's so great. And now, as always, I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section. Tell me whether you think this could be a good deck moving forward, whether it's just a one-hit wonder, and are there any other cards that you think could make this deck even better? Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGradio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGradio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.